Hi guys, the name is Mark and I just want to do a quick little video here because there seems to be quite a pile of misunderstandings going on out there. I'll give you an example. Like, say for example, the government says, well, you can't drive unless you purchase a license. So you're told that you can't drive until you have a license because it's illegal. But yet now if you pay to have a license, all of a sudden it becomes legal. So you were told that something is illegal, but the minute you pay for it, magically it becomes legal. It's almost like O.J. Simpson, prime example. He murdered somebody, or so we think, or assume, right? And effectively, if you have all the money in the world, well, you can get off murder. So they call this fundamental justice, and the key four letters in fundamental, right, is you have fund. So if you have the funds, you can afford to break the law. So you couldn't drive, you couldn't travel before because you didn't have a license and it was considered illegal, and now all of a sudden if you pay for it, it becomes illegal. So what you were told was breaking the law, all of a sudden if you pay for it, is now not breaking the law. Now, we live in a world full of curses and spells, and you look at the Bible and it's called a go spell. Go usually means go, do something, right? Go, and then you have spell. Now, if you look up spell in a dictionary, it equals a curse. They call that cursive writing. So you've been put in a curse. Do you know your ABCs? Do you know your alphabet? There's a bet going on of some form here that you don't know your ABCs. Now, they call this English or any other language, and ye were warned to come out of Babylon, my people, Babylon, blah, 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 unless ye want to partake in her sins. This is why talk is cheap, silence is golden, and actions speak louder than words. So, again, back to spell, you look up spell in a dictionary and it equals a curse. They call that cursive writing, so then you've been cursed. Then you might talk about sentence structure and they'll give you a 20-year sentence in jail, right? And they call that a jail sentence. So obviously this sentence is coming from a spell and sentence structure, and you've been cursed. And again, you look up spell, it equals a curse. So don't listen to me, people. I'm not an expert on anything, but you look up simple words and you start realizing what's going on here. So effectively, getting back to this, I don't have a license, which is illegal if I want to drive, but now if I pay to have a license, well, now I'm golden, right? So effectively, a license is derived from the word licentiousness, which means acts of the wicked. Again, get out of the spell, come out of Babylon, get out of Babylon, my people, blah, 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 unless you want to partake in her sins. Just like everybody's, we live in a society of conquer and divide, right? Hate this faction, oh, they're colored, hate them, hate these gun owners, hate these people. I'm not pro anything, I'm not advocating for guns or this and that. It's like a buddy said many years ago, a gun is just simply a tool, but it's how you choose to use that tool that becomes very important. I mean, you don't need a gun to kill somebody, you could use your bare hands, right? So this whole nonsense of this divide and conquer, it's like people say, well, these people have died for your freedom in wars. Nobody dies for freedom in wars, people, right? Again, it's like martial arts. You don't use martial arts to come at somebody. You use their energy and their strength to weaken them, okay? So we live in this society of conquer and divide, and unfortunately, if nobody ever picked up guns, nobody would die. You tell me that I have to go overseas to fight my neighbors, that makes me a terrorist, okay? It's different if somebody was coming into this place and, say, trying to harm us, then you have the right to defend yourself. So again, people, it's all a spell. If people didn't pay attention to Trump and Justin Trudeau and all these people, they're basically crooks and thieves. And I'm not even judging them, I'm just discerning the facts. You steal, you harm, you do this, you do that, you exonerate pedophiles and criminals like Trump is doing, the whole 9 yards, and then people say, well, this guy's, say Trump, for example, is going to start a third world war. He is powerless unless you grant him that power, and if he says pick up guns, and then you pick up guns. So if nobody picks up guns, nobody fights, nobody dies. Back in old style war days, if somebody slit you with a sword, you would be left in the field to die. It's not like somebody coming up and capping you and plugging you right in the side of the face and then you're instantly dead. That is not how warfare went. So you must understand this, people. It's not like a video game where you die and you have a reset button. Unfortunately, when you get cut in the field, you're left there to die. There is no reset button. So again, even these video games, they're used to deceive, okay? So basically, people, all this conquer and divide, love your neighbor. Who cares what color they are? We all bleed the same color. We all bleed purplish red. It's just the way it is. So get out of the spell, come out of Babylon, my people, and remember that silence is golden. Now, why is that? Because actions speak louder than words. Talk is cheap, you know. And again, back to all this nonsense. Everybody's running around with their cell phones. Where do they put you after they use sentence structure to give you a death sentence in jail? They put you in a cell. And then you're in a cell block and everybody's running around with their cell phones. They're consumed in that little block because now they're using their phone. And look at Apple, for example. What was the forbidden fruit of knowledge in the Bible? It was the apple. You look at Apple computers, for God's sakes, and it has a bite taken out of it. Now, why is that? You were told to stay away from the tree of knowledge, right? You weren't supposed to be knowledgeable. You were simply supposed to know how to live. And you know, so getting back with these cell phones, well, phone is a derivative from the word, you've heard the term phony, which is a derivative from Phoenicians, the Phoenicians, for God's sakes. So everybody's running around with their iPhones, acting all phony, and thinking that they're cool, when realistically, they're using these electronics, and basically Apple was the forbidden fruit. And it has a bite taken out of it. So these people put things right in your face, but people don't want to realize the spell. And then they say, oh, well, your wordplay, these are not my words, people. If I had my way, I wouldn't even be doing these videos talking to you. But unfortunately, words are the ways that we have to converse. If you take word and you add an S to word, you now have sword. Well, I wonder why word, the pen, is now mightier than the sword. And getting back to a pen, where would they put you in jail after they've given you a life sentence? In a pen, short for penitentiary. In a cell block. So you've been locked in a cell, people. Get out of these cells. You are comprised of cells, which makes sense. And that's why L, you are L of him or L of her, right? Or both. You're L. What is L? It's a letter and it's a 90-degree angle, also used in electricity. Like, people, I can't make this shit up. And where do you live? In a city. Electricity, ampacity, ampacity, right? So obviously there's a spell going on here and people aren't aware of the fact that there's a spell going on. So people, please, get away from this conquer and divide and stuff. Just like the coronavirus. I don't know if this stuff is real or not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a man-made virus. Anything is possible. And people say, well, the government wouldn't do something like that. They wouldn't off their own people. Hey, Hitler did it during World War II. I mean, look at the Trade Tower buildings, 9/11, right? You know, Building 7 goes down, but no planes flew into Building 7. I've wired high-rises half my life, and let me tell you something, people. You can Google and watch high-rises, and they will not burn and they will not crumble down to the ground. It just takes too much to melt these steel girders, right? So jet fuel, unfortunately, it's a joke. It's not going to do it. You know, you watch these videos, and apparently, like, you just have to watch them. They were professionally demolished using thermite, right, which is a form of explosives, high-heat explosives. So anyhow, people, please get out of this divide and conquer stuff. If you never listen to Trump and all that, and then people say, well, how can we change? I can't change anything. I'm only one person. Change starts with you. Be the change that you would like to see. Actions speak louder than words. Say, for example, if you people all decided tomorrow that you don't like gas prices, well, if everybody stopped shopping at Shell gasoline, take the S out, and you have Hell. Wow, buying products from Hell gasoline, eh? Or diesel, Di-Cell, Di-L, right? Like, people, look at the words. We don't need these dirty products. And if everybody got together and boycotted Shell gasoline for the next 5 days, Shell would be out of business. Do you think that would send a message to people saying, listen, you know, like, hey, you don't even have to do anything. Just don't show up. Don't buy their gas from them, and you'll soon find out how fast gasoline prices drop. You'll find out that you are in control. I don't like these terms. We're not even in control of the shit coming out of our butts, but you're in control. And the minute people come together and they get out of this fear-perpetuated nonsense and they stop conforming. Look at the term. Didn't your mother tell you not to deal with cons? You have everything. It's been blown out of context. Again, come out of Babylon, my people, unless you want to partake in her sins, right? Even the Bible, it's a go spell. There's two stories. There's the story about the sun in the sky, which is also the Son of God, which is S-U-N, and then there's the story of man, S-O-N, and that's why they say to Jesus or Jesus, so you're the Son of God? And he says, no, I am the Son of Man. He knew that they were trying to put him in a spell. Just like somebody says to me, are you Mark? No, I am not Mark. If you ask me if my given name was Mark, yes. But how can I be Mark? I'm not Mark. I am not a name. I am not a surname. Take the S out. You are a name. They tell you things right in plain context / print. So there's a spell going on. So please, people, if you don't like Trump, don't vote for the guy. If you don't like any of the party members, write a vote of non-confidence. And if everybody wrote a vote of non-confidence, these people wouldn't make it into office. And then if you found out that everybody wrote a vote of non-confidence and somehow Trump magically appears in office, or Justin Trudeau, well, now you know that there's a case of fraud going on and simply this guy should be arrested, right? So again, the whole thing, get out of the spell, people. You know, you were told not to answer and swear, just add an A, right? You know, and that's why I am that I am. I am not Mark, I am not Simser. This is preposterous. These are names on a piece of paper. It's like saying you live in the U.S. How do you live in the U.S., people? How do you live in Canada? It's a fictitious name written on a piece of paper, and all of a sudden you're saying, I'm a Canadian and I live in Canada? I could understand somebody saying I live in a geographical coordinate called Canada, but you don't live in Canada, people. You live in your body. This is where you reside, okay? You don't reside on the citizenship. You don't live out in the township. You take the T out of town and you have own, and then you have ship. Why are you people on a ship? I am not a citizen, okay? I have not been cited as a citizen. I was, and I gave all that up. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, okay? So that meant, here's all your stuff back. I am not a name. I am this. I am that I am. Whatever this is at this magical moment in time, that's why it's called the present, right? It's a present. It's a gift. So I just want you people to be aware. Get out of the spell. Come out of Babylon. And realize that everything that is going on is bullshit. It's phony. It's fake. And again, phone comes from the Phoenicians, right? So stop being so phony running around with your iPhones with a picture of the forbidden fruit, which has a bite taken out of it, which was the apple. So people, get out of the spell. Like I say, I'm no expert on anything. The last thing I ever try to do, and I watch my words very carefully, because that you could be using a spell on somebody without you even realizing it. It's simple. You think there's not a spell, you take live, you spell it backwards, you have evil. You add a D to evil, and what do you have? The devil. You know, you take Santa, you spin the N on Santa, and you have Satan. Satan's claws. Like, come on, people. You know, this stuff is like child's play, and these people mock you every day. Like Obama back in the day, we're looking for change. Well, why is he looking for change? He's never specified what kind of change he's looking for. Change usually refers to money, and they call it the stock exchange because you're getting exchanged at your expense, which pence was a British form of currency, to be franc, which was the French form of currency. People, I can't make this shit up, okay? So you have a spell and then you have natural, okay? And again, it's all useless knowledge / information. If you took a child and raised it out in the bush, would the child care how to spell words? Would the child care who's the vice president and the president? And would the child care? No, the child would be out fishing, netting fish, harvesting food, hunting for berries, Stuff like this, okay? So do you have the skills to pay the bills? You take the S out of skills and you have kills. Do you have the kills? That's why they're called headshots, people, okay? You take the S and the K out of skill, what do you have? Ill. And then people run around buying pills. You take the P out of pill, and what do you have? Ill. And then they all live in a village. Take the V out and you have ill age. Age of the ill. So people, get out of the spell. Stop taking these pills. Stop thinking that you have the skills to pay the B-ills. And wouldn't that getting bills in the mail make you sick if you can't afford to pay them? And you take the M out of mailman and you have ailment. Add a T and you have ailment, for God's sakes, okay? And then they call money bills. And again, people are getting sick because they either have too much or they don't have enough. And you take the B out of bills and you have ills, right? So they're millionaires. Take the M out, ill-ion-air. It's all in the air, people. It's all a figment of the imagination. Jack and the Beanstalk didn't want the gold. He didn't care if your money was backed by gold or not. It's legal tender, and to use that would make you a pretender. We have gotten away from God's laws. God's laws are the law of attraction, the law of repentance, the gift of free will. These are God's laws. We weren't supposed to be in a world of the mind of who's the president, who's going to start a war, and is this coronavirus real, and people. The Creator gave us divinity, and we have everything we need to be divine. But we don't want to be divine. We want to come out of the Garden of Eden and say we no longer want to grow our own fruits and vegetables. We want to go make money, fictitious money, so that we can go buy our food from a grocery store. And it's funny, you take the re out, and you have gross. And then what do you make at work? A gross income, then you make a net income, right? And then everybody's in the net. They live on a plan net, right? Come on, people. You're part of the net plan. What do you get at the end of the week? A net pay, for God's sakes, right? They call them wages. You take the W out, which is 2 V's. That's a W in French, right? And you have ages. Get out of the ages or the man-agement. You were not supposed to man-age men. Otherwise, you will age. Right? The universe ebbs and flows, and the water flows where it wants, right? It can be soft or it can be hard. It doesn't matter, but it flows. It's not fighting upstream and trying to fight resistance, right? So back to this conquer and divide stuff. Well, you're black, I hate you. You're white, I hate you. I hate myself, for God's sakes. Come on, people, right? We're supposed to be divinity here. We're supposed to be love, right? And so I just want to share this. You know, people say, well, but what can I do? And meanwhile, they go to church and they say, well, one person can't make a difference. Well, the whole parable, par able, are you able to speak at par? Do you know your alphabet, your ABCs? Because QRST, the last time I checked, spells Christ. So do you know your ABCs? Are you in a spell? Like, people, get out of the spell, come out of Babylon. And, you know, these people, they go to church and they say, well, I don't know why you're trying to make a change. One person can't do that. But yet they'll go to church and they'll worship a guy named Jesus, for God's sakes. Like, how goddamn friggin' stupid can you get, right? Don't get me wrong. Again, the book is a good book if you know what you're looking for, but you don't want to be caught in this spell, okay, people? And it's all useless knowledge. If a child in the bush grew up and was raised to forage and hunt and to respect nature and stuff, would that child need to know all these different languages and who's the prime minister and who's the president, and what car to drive and how to fix it? People, it's useless knowledge, okay? The child does not need to know this. That's called the adultery, right? Being an adult. You were never supposed to be an adult. You're supposed to be a big kid, for God's sakes. Like a kid, yeah. You know, that's what kids do. I was doing a little jig for some reason, dancing in this little restaurant the other day, and this little girl came up and she started grooving, and then she walked by again and stuck her tongue out at me like, na boo boo, and we both laughed. This is what life is about, people. It's not about this useless information and this useless knowledge and stuff like that. It's about being you, being genuine, being who you are meant to be, being somebody who can change somebody's life and help them. And that's what the beauty of life is. It's not about this bullshit of, oh my God, they're going to start a third world war. Do I really care? Ask me. You telling me to go pick up guns, I'm sorry, I'm not picking up guns to go shoot my neighbor. It's preposterous, right? So basically what it comes down to, people, is get away from the fear, okay? Meditate, meditate for 7 minutes, feel your fingers, do what you have to do, allow everything to flow through you, whether it be good or bad, and just allow it to flow. And you have to ask yourself 2 questions in life to keep things simple. Is this good? Take the O out of good, and you have God, right? You spell dog backwards and you have God, or God backwards is dog. But nonetheless, I'm using God in the creative universal sense here, right? So don't misconstrue this, right? Because I'm not into dealing with cons, right? Context, conform, confirm, right? Contract. What is a contract? It says I don't trust you. You're my neighbor. You're supposed to do something for me, and it says I blatantly don't trust you. That is not love, people. So if you ask yourself if it's good or bad, everything comes down to 2 things. Is this good or is this bad? Then you can make the respective changes. So I just want to share this. The next time somebody's, oh, well, aren't you worried there's going to be a third world war? No, I'm not concerned. And even then, could I control the fact if 1,000 people want to kill me? No, so why do I care? I have better things to do, like play guitar, do a little jig with a kid, and the 2 of us like laugh, for God's sakes. You see where I'm going with this, people? There's more to life than these fear mongers. And again, like, these prime ministers and presidents and stuff, they're stealing, and people are just allowing them. Stop paying their wages and see how fast they can steal. They can't. You don't watch Trump and Justin Trudeau on the news, these people will be out of a job by tomorrow. You write a vote of non-confidence for every party member. You stop being a citizen, and you remember that we the people are not citizens, okay? Citizens are 13th or 14th Amendment slaves. And if you look up slave in an old dictionary, it says a person who is the property of another. So when somebody, a cop or a judge, says, are you this person? He's asking you if you're the property of another. And then you're going, well, yeah, I'm this person, I'm Mark. No, people, I'm not Mark. I was given a God-given name called Mark, but I am not Mark. People, I am that I am. And that's why when Pontius Pilate said, hey, and who are you? And Jesus says, I am that I am. People, get out of the spell. Look at the truth, right? You're not a name on a piece of paper. It's like people saying, well, you live in Canada? No, I don't live in Canada. I live in my body. This is the plain truth. I'm not being one of these pessimists and stuff. I'm just keeping things simple, okay, people? So again, if you don't like Shell gasoline, or you don't like Donald Trump or Justin Trudeau, and I don't have anything against these people, I don't hate them, I don't dislike them, they were given as a gift from the universe that have turned sour and they've joined the dark side. It's all Star Wars, people. Don't become like Darth Vader. Don't join the dark side, okay? This is what this all effectively comes down to. Get out from underneath the dark cloud of the Sith and realize that you are a being of light. Literally, you're comprised of light. If you weren't comprised of light, I couldn't see you, okay? So just keep things simple, people. Get out of the spell. You don't like Shell, hell gasoline. If everybody stopped shopping there or wrote a vote of non-confidence, Shell would be out of business. That would send a message to all of these other players that, listen, if you don't want to drop gas prices, next it's you. In fact, forget the gas. Let's start running our cars on water. People, we have the technology. It's like power. People say there's no such thing as free energy. Well, yes, there is. It's been here since time immemorial, right? Even time. It's a man-made fictitious thing. Otherwise, if it was bang on and real, why would you have to set your clocks forward and backwards, okay, people? So time is, you take time and you say it backwards and emit. So it's an emittance of something, right? But it's all fictitious. Oh, now I have to be at work at 9 o'clock because my clock says so. Come on, people. An inanimate object is telling you when you have to be at work. Like myself, people, If I decide I'm going to be 20 minutes late, I'll call somebody and say I'm going to be 20 minutes late. I don't have some boss going, excuse me, do you know what time it is? Right? This is where you people have to take the power back. And even power, it's a bad term, right? You take the P out of power and you have an ower of a debt perhaps, right? Power is actually measured in watts, and watts is a measurement of heat. And that's why when the cops come carrying guns, they're packing heat. For God's sakes, right? So you just have to look at everything. Everything's electricity, and it's the yin and the yang, and the minute these politicians say it's day, you think it's night. Just like Obama, he was talking about change. He never once said how he was going to help people. He's talking about the change that he's going to make, to be frank, again, the French form of currency, at your expense. So you are getting exchanged, and they call this soul trading, people. So get out of the spell, stop being an order follower and doing what people are telling you to do. Me, I will die first. I will meet my maker. I bow to God. I don't bow to man. Man equals mistruths, evil, the whole 9 yards. The Creator equals goodness. Again, is it back to good or bad? The Creator is goodness, people. And that's why you don't bow to kings and queens, and you don't bow and, you know, all this nonsense. So people, please, please, please get out of the spell. Pull a vote of non-confidence, whatever it is. And remember, these people can't fight wars unless you allow them to fight wars. If you don't pick up guns, will there be a war? Come on, people. You know, wars are fought for bankers, and they're kings. Bank king, you have two words, ban and king. You've been banned from the money, and they're the kings. That's why they're the kings, because they have, you think, because they have all the gold, they rule the world. People, these people are fooled. They don't even rule the shit coming out of their ass, because we're not in control of nothing, okay, people? So, you know, look at the term bankrupt, right? Bank are up. Right? They're up, but you're down, right? And you take the D out of down and you have own, and everybody is on this ownership. You don't own nothing, people, not even the poo coming out of your crapper, for God's sake. So anyhow, people, once again, people say, well, how can I make a change? You can make a change. You don't like Shell gasoline tomorrow, you stop buying at Shell. Shell will soon find out who dictates the gas prices, because you do. You get what you pay for, and the world's so messed up. We said, no, the universe said we have dominion over things. The Creator never said we own things, right? That's deceit. Those are lies. We have dominion, and we said, no thanks, we don't want free water, we want to pay for this water. Like, are we that stupid, people? We don't want to grow our food and pay respect to the earth and get back to the Garden of Eden. We want to go buy our food from a grocery store. Okay, that's pretty gross, people, okay? Walk in, do you see any healthy food in the grocery store? God, no, okay? Even the sugar market, it's a slave trade, and we support it even by buying sugar. This is how messed up we are, okay, people? So God said we can have pretty much whatever we want. We can have dominion over things, and we said, no thanks, like the blithering idiots we are, we would like to pay for this. And that's called soul trading, people, right? Now, I'm not talking your solar plexus, the soul in your feet, the soul in your head. This is your temple, okay, people? You don't have to go to church to be inside your temple. That's why it's called your temple, right? So get out of this nonsense, people, okay? Get out of the spell, come out of Babylon, and stop voting for these monkeys. Even then, really, you know, like, if nobody listened to Trump and nobody paid any attention to him, where would he be? He would just be a mindless yakking idiot on the street, you know? He even tells people that he could kill somebody on the corner of 5th Avenue in Madison in New York, and people eat it up. Come on, people, this is divide and conquer. Now they're justifying making killing acceptable. It's like they'll show a video of some poor woman getting raped, and 10 guys jump out of their car and they rape her. Well, now they're promoting rape by showing you people that, hey, you can go do this too. No, you can't, people. Even democracy, people say it's the will of the people. Democracy is the will of certain individuals, but it's not the will of the people, okay, people? It's like gang rape. Gang rape is the will of the people. You get 10 guys raping a woman, that's friggin', you know, gang rape. Like, is that the will of the people? So the will of the people makes things better. It's like getting back to licenses. So anyhow, people, I send you much peace, love, respect, and until then, keep your heads up, your sticks on the ice. Peace.